Hello, my loves. So you want to know if you should stay in your relationship or should you leave? If you have clicked on this video, you are most probably going through a lot of emotional turmoil. Perhaps you have been fighting with your partner, or perhaps you've come to a place where there is no fighting. There is just silence and distance and apathy. Now, if you're fighting a lot with your partner, that usually means that there is still a lot of energy between the two of you and huge chances that you can resolve things. Usually, a lot of people think that they are fighting with their partner. Meanwhile, they are fighting for their relationship. So if you believe that you're fighting for the relationship, then try to figure out what is it that I'm trying to get from my partner and communicate that in ways that are less hostile and more absorbable, more digestible by your partner. If you come at them with hostility, or if your partner's coming at you with hostility, it's very difficult to figure out what is it that we actually want from this situation. And on the other hand, if you have come to a place where there is apathy, there is distance, there is just meh, that is a dangerous place to be. And that means both of you have walled up. There has been so much that has happened that has caused pain from both of your sides. So it's been tons of paper cuts, and you've just been putting plasters and plasters and plasters over the paper cuts, not really resolving the issues. And now both of you have so much distance and walls between you that you don't want to re-engage, because re-engagement would mean that I need to get vulnerable, and that means I'm going to have to revisit some of those past hurts, and I don't want to feel that, and I also don't trust my partner to be able to hold that. So if that is you and you still have hope for the relationship, usually if you watch this type of video, you will have hope for the relationship. Mostly if you don't have hope for the relationship, it's just going to be a hard no, I'm leaving, bam, my heart is closed, pack your bags and leave. But because you're watching this type of video, that means that there is some kind of hope that the relationship might work. Now, nobody can ever tell you whether you should stay in the relationship or whether you should leave. Only your heart and your mind and your intuition combined with your intellect can tell you what you should do. However, this video is going to give you a little bit more clarity on why perhaps you want to go, what is keeping you there, and I'm going to give you 6 questions that might help you to get more clarity on whether you should stay or whether you should go. All right, so before we go into the questions, this is the very important thing that you might not hear on other YouTube channels. Now, the fearful avoidant attachment style, that means a person who fears love and at the same time wants love, will flip-flop in the relationship. And this happens because, like I said, they fear love and then also they want the love and connection. So they can be called the combination style between the anxious, preoccupied attachment style and the dismissive avoidant. I've done videos on this before. If you want to go and have a look at them, please go ahead. I'm also going to link them in the description below. So with this attachment style, it's quite tricky. Okay, because usually the fearful avoidant throughout the month, they might give a lot of themselves. They are highly attuned to their partner, which means that they are going to figure out what their partner wants without the partner actually speaking up and saying anything about it. It is so innate in them that they believe that everybody is doing that. And now because the partner is not doing that, what's going to happen is that they believe I am unloved. My partner doesn't care about me. They are not giving to me in the same way that I am giving and showing up in the relationship. I am not being met. My love is not being reciprocated, and therefore I want out. And my partner doesn't love me. Okay, and this causes a lot of issues. So if you or your partner are fearful avoidant and you notice this pattern where there is a lot of give and then there is a sudden shutdown, just examine that. Is there a lot of give, overcompensation? right? The overcompensation can also come from this feeling of I am unworthy, I'm not good enough, I have to give and earn love, and that's why they do so much on a subconscious level, right? This is not something that is in their conscious mind, but as you're listening to this, maybe you can feel it in your subconscious, like, does that resonate? Do you feel a little bit like you have to earn somebody's love, like you have to perform for love? Because if that is you, that might be causing a lot of problems in your relationships. Sometimes that's not even isolated to your romantic partner, but it can be in other relationships as well, where you're feeling used, abused by others, and when you need them, there is nobody there for you. Okay, that's a typical fearful avoidant thing. And to remedy that, you need to pull back, work on your self-worth, work on your self-esteem. I work with healing core wounds that are actually driving this behavior in the subconscious mind, which is a phenomenal way to change behavior. You know, behavior change happens, it's so difficult. I don't know if you've tried it. You know, we try to go to the gym, eat differently, and if this stuff isn't coming from the subconscious mind, we feel like we're just going against or pushing a rock up a hill. It's very, very difficult to change that. So I work with the subconscious mind as well on helping you to change that. So you're welcome to work with me, or perhaps in other ways by yourself, by changing your behavior. All right, so this is something that you can look at and also begin to express needs to your partner, saying like, hey, you know what, this is what I need to have more connection, and it would look like together we go to an activity that I like, we go to yoga, we go to a crafts class, we go to whatever it is. Fearful avoidants generally love to do joint activities where they can share experiences and a common emotion together. Okay, so maybe like paddle, tennis, running together, something that you can both share the same experience, grow together, and share the same emotions. And that's usually what makes them feel connected. They often don't know that. And when their partner is not providing that for them, they feel unloved and they're like, something's not gelling here. Or there is too much time, connection, and they feel pressured in the relationship. They feel like they cannot sustain their work responsibilities or their energy levels. They don't know how to ask for time and space by themselves. And then they feel too pressured and they feel like they have to pull back. And they don't know how to do that, kind of the middle way. Okay, so fearful avoidants are people of extremes. So you guys need to practice the middle way. Then we have the anxious preoccupied attachment style. Usually the anxious preoccupied attachment style will want to leave a relationship, not so much to completely leave, but they get to a point where they're super desperate, they feel unloved, and they want to test the partner to see if the partner is going to chase after them. Sometimes this happens because the anxious preoccupied individual is triggered in their core wound of abandonment, being disliked, being rejected as well. And then they don't know how to ask for reassurance from their partner. So instead of going to their partner and saying like, hey, you know what, I feel insecure in the relationship, can you give me some reassurance? This is what I need to know. This is what I need to feel. This is how we get there. These are the activities, or, you know, we need to have more time together. How do you feel about that? Instead of opening those conversations, because they fear being seen as needy, they will do behaviors that are protest behaviors and tasting behaviors, like trying to leave a relationship just to gauge if their partner is going to chase after them. So this also might not be super conscious, but if you are like, you know, in your mind, you see these resentful thoughts of like, oh, I'm going to leave, and then they're going to have to chase after me, or then they will see what they are missing. Okay, fearful avoidants can also have this type of thinking because they are the combination style. So just spot that as well. And usually that is an indication that you have not been vocalizing your needs and your emotions directly to your partner in ways that they can hear. Shouting at your partner, complaining that they are staying at work too late, or being at their parents, or whatever, not prioritizing you, is not communicating with your partner. A lot of fearful avoidants and anxious preoccupied individuals will be like, yeah, but I told them. I'm like, how did you tell them? Were you aggressive? Were you spiteful? Were you critical? If you are any of those, it means that you have engaged your partner's sympathetic nervous system, their fight, flight, freeze response. And that means there is no blood going to social engagement part of their brain. Everything is shutting down and going to the big muscle. So literally there's less blood flow to the brain and to parts of them that can meet your needs and really fully get you. Okay, so they are in survival mode. You cannot get anything from them when they are like that. You have to change your approach if you want to get something different from your partner. I know it sucks to hear it because you feel like you've been wrong done by, but there are these physiological things that we have to be aware of. Like the way we approach a topic and approach a partner is also going to change the feedback that we are getting back. Okay, and we have to take responsibility for that. I know, I'm not just telling you. This is a part I had to go through as well. So I'm just talking to myself as well, talking from experience. All right, so let's look at the dismissive avoidant partner. If they want to leave a relationship, chances are that something triggered their fear of being engulfed. There was perhaps a lot of vulnerability. So sometimes things go well in the relationship, there's a lot of connection, and all of a sudden that triggers the dismissive avoidant person's fear of being engulfed, of being stuck, of getting into this relationship and in the long term getting hurt, rejected. So instead of waiting for you to reject them in the long term, they pull away. This also happens subconsciously. This doesn't happen consciously. Consciously, what they might be thinking is a lot of negative thoughts. Sorry to say, they might think a lot of negative thoughts about their partner because that is the way their subconscious mind learned to deal with the threat of abandonment and rejection and that fear of vulnerability. So they might think, oh, you know what, the weekend was great, we had this great time, but I don't like their parents, or she talks too much, or he talks too much, or maybe they are too clingy, or you know what, I need my freedom more, I can't focus so much on my work, and now I need to focus on my work more than I'm focusing on this relationship, it's taking too much of my time. Maybe they come back home and they have a lot of work that they haven't done, and they're like, you know, this relationship is taking too much of my time, I can't focus here. So they are going to have these negative thoughts about the relationship to suppress their feelings that are coming up, that are being created. So if this is you, just check that out. Okay, is that what's happening? Are you flaw finding in the relationship? Because then that means you're trying to leave because of your fears and you're self-sabotaging. Now that I have said those things, check that out in your own mind, in your life, in your relationship, and then ask yourself these 6 questions to further help you clarify where you are. Number 1, if you loved yourself fully, completely, would you be in this relationship? Number 2, if you believe that good things can happen to you, would you be in this relationship? Number 3, would you be happy for a person who you love and admire, like your best friend or your niece, your nephew, or your child, if they were mature, to be in the same relationship? Is this something you would wish for your child? Number 4, if this person is not the parent of your child, would you want them to become a parent of your child? Number 6, do you like who you are becoming in the relationship? This is very important because it gauges the level of stress that you're currently going through. Relationships are sometimes challenging, especially when we have an insecure attachment style. A lot of triggers come up to the surface. So when we are healing our attachment, we might feel triggered. And if we are able to work through those triggers and heal through those triggers and become stronger, more resilient, then that challenge or that temporary pain that you're going through is building you, and over the period of this relationship, you are becoming a stronger person, a healthier person. Even though it's really uncomfortable and maybe you got into a conflict situation with your partner now that is making you seek out this type of video. The other thing here is, if the person that you're with and the challenge that you're going through is so stressful that it's beyond your level of tolerance, beyond what you can manage, and it is re-traumatizing you. So it's triggering you to the point where you are becoming so anxious, so depressed, and so depleted, and lowers your self-confidence so much that you are unable to function properly in your life. And instead of healing, you feel like you're deepening those wounds, then that is information that you need to consider when making these decisions. Okay, in the long run, am I becoming better because of this? Am I healing? Or in the long run, am I actually doing myself a disservice? Let me know in the comments if this served you, if perhaps you have some other questions or your experience in relationships and what helps you decide whether you want to stay or whether you want to go, because I'm sure the community would love your input and they would get more clarity from that. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you next time. I'm sending you big love.